All right. Now we're doing freeCodeCamp, JavaScript algorithms and data structures, intermediate algorithm scripting, Pig Latin. All right. So Pig Latin is a way of altering English words. The rules are as follows. If a word begins with a consonant, we're going to take the first consonant or consonant cluster, move it to the end of the word, and add a to it. If a word begins with a vowel, we're just going to add way at the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to translate the provided string to Pig Latin, and the input strings are guaranteed to be English words in all lowercase. All right. So here are some examples. We got California right here, and it's going to turn into California K, right? So we're going to take the C, put it at the end, and then add AY to it. So if it starts with a vowel like algorithm, we're going to say algorithm way, all right? So just like that. And then we're going to also, if it's got like a pseudo vowel like Y, we're just going to say rhythm A like that, right? So first things first, we're going to pull these ones over here so that we have something to check as well when it's these other kinds of cases, right? So let's put algorithm right there, and then we'll put rhythm there as well, all right? So let's get this one and put it over here also, right? So now we can check all three, and there won't be any surprises, right? So now when it comes to this, first things first, we're going to start with making a, an array with all the vowels in it. So we'll say let vowels equal, and then we're going to have an empty array, and inside of here, we're going to say string A, then we'll say string E, then we'll do string I, then we'll do string O, O, and then we'll do string U like that. How about that? All right. So now that we've got that going on, what we're going to do is we're going to also be checking, we're going to do a for loop, and we're going to be checking through to find out where the first vowel is, like right here and like right here. So we're going to make another, variable. We'll say let first vowel index, and then we're going to have that equal -1. And we're going to make it equal -1 just in case it's something like rhythm, which doesn't have a real vowel. It just has the pseudo vowel in it, all right? So now that we've got that, we're going to also let new word equal an empty string so that we can make these new words once we have something to change, all right? So now we're going to have a for loop. We'll say for let I equal 0. While I is less than str.length, we'll do I++, all right? And I decided we're just going to do plus instead of that plus equals 0 just because get over it, right? If they don't know JavaScript that well, they'll figure it out. I mean, it's a for loop, isn't it? They'll figure out that this means plus equals 1, right? So now that we've got that, what we're going to do is we're going to iterate through the string, and then we're going to use the includes method, right? And the includes method that determines whether an array includes a certain value among its entries, right? So we're going to say something like this. We're going to say if vowels, so we're going to go through this array, dot includes, and what it's got to include is the string at I, all right? So if it includes that, we're going to say first vowel index, vowel index now equals whatever the I is. And then what we're going to do, hold on. Let's get this, put this up here. All right. And then what we're going to do after that is we're just going to break out of the for loop, right? So basically it's going to go through each one of these. So it'll go through C. It's not included in the vowel, so it'll go to the O. It is included. So now we're going to put 1 as the first vowel index, then we'll break out of that. And so that's the end of the for loop, basically. We don't need anything else, because if it doesn't break out, it'll go to the next one. It'll say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can't have that, so that's why we're breaking out. And then after that, we're going to come down here and do an if statement, right? So we'll say if, And this if statement is going to check what number the first vowel index is. So if we're going to first start to see if first vowel index equals -1. So let's take this and throw it down here and put equals like that, right? So if first vowel index equals -1, what we're going to do is just say new word now equals string plus a, like that, right? Vowels dot includes. Don't forget that. All right. So there we go. So now we've got this one right here, and let's just come down here and say console.log new word, like that. And we can see rhythm A works in that case. So we've got that one covered like that. So let's get rid of this console.log. Could have just, anyway, whatever. And let's make this like that, like there. All right. And now we're going to do an else if. So if first vowel index, first vowel, what are we doing? What year is this? Let's copy this, throw it in here. We could have copied this while we're at it. Copy this, throw it in here. And if that equals 0, what we're going to do is we're going to say new word now equals string plus way. All right. And let's do a console.log new word. All right. And we can see algorithm way now works in that case. All right. So now that we've got that taken care of, let's take care of the last case, which is just the else. So else, what we're going to do is we're going to say let consonant cluster, all right? Just in case it's more than one consonant, like in Schwartz right here, all right? We're going to say let consonant cluster equal, and we're going to do str.slice, and then we're going to slice it from 0 to whatever the first vowel index is. First vowel index, like this. All right. So now let's do console.log consonant cluster. All right. And so we've got the C right here for consonant. Let's say consonant. All right. So we've got the CL like that. How about consonant? It doesn't matter, but I'm going to put consonant anyway, because that's a funnier word. So now we've got consonant, and so we've got the CR like that. And so now what we're going to do is we're going to let sliced string equal str.slice, and we'll slice it from the first vowel index, right? So we'll do this like that. And let's say console.log slice string, console.log sliced string. And we see it says consonant, just like we're expecting, right? So now we're going to change the new word. We're going to say new word now equals sliced string plus consonant cluster plus AY, like that. And now let's do console.log new word sliced sting. That's why we do these console.logs, right? String like that. So now we've got consonant cray like that. All right. So there we go. We've got that going on. Let's come down here and say return new word. Let's do one more console.log new word, and we can see all three of them work fine. So now we're going to say return new word, like that. We already know they work. Let's just wrap this up in parentheses just in case. Say console.log in front of it, and it still works, so it looks good. Let's run the test. Looks good. And you know what? That's pretty long, isn't it? That's a lot of typing, isn't it? I think so. You might think so also. So let's just do the old comment this thing out. Let's start fresh, because there is a way to do this with some replace method, and believe it or not, that's why I have all these other ones open. With the replace method, that does it just a little bit more concisely, all right? And actually it has less steps while it's at it, all right? So let's start off by saying const, and what's this thing called? Translate Pig Latin. So we'll say const translate Pig Latin equals string, and then we'll have the arrow like this, ES6 style, right? And we're going to do this a little hybrid ES6 style, hybrid old style, by making an object out of this, right? So let's start by, what's the word? Let's declare some variables. So say let's do something like this. Let's say let if vowel first. All right. So if vowel first, and this isn't an if statement. It's just a what's the word? A variable that starts with if. And so if vowel first, what we're going to do is we're going to say str.replace. All right. And we've been using replace through this series. So we should remember that, what is it? The first thing we're going to have is a pattern, and then we're going to replace it with a replacement. So the pattern we're going to use is some regex, all right? And so let's start off with the regex like this. And for the inside this regex, we're going to start off with a, what is this called? A character class, right? So we've got the character classes right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to have A-E-I-O-U in there. A-E-I-O-U. A-E-I-O-U like that. All right? But the thing is, it has to be at the beginning. So we're going to have an insertion in front of it, right? And we're going to be using this caret insertion right here, which matches the beginning of the input. We've been using the caret inside of it, which does a negated. But when it's outside of it, it does the match at the beginning, if we remember, right? So we're going to put in front of the bracket the what do we just call this? Matches at the beginning, all right? So now that we've got that one, we've also got to match the rest of the word along with that. So we're going to come over here to the character classes, and we're going to use the /lowercase w, which matches pretty much anything that's not a letter, a number, or a underscore. And like it says over here, it's going to be anything that's an English word, so we don't have to worry about underscores or letters. So we're just going to have a W like that, right? But that's just only going to match one letter, right? So we're also going to use a quantifier. We're going to use this one right here, the star, which matches the preceding item X. In this case, it'll be the vowel. Where are we? Quantifiers. 0, excuse me, in this case, it's going to be this W right here, 0 or more times, all right? So what we're going to do here is have the star like that. So it's going to match 0 or more times, all right? And so just in case it's the letter A, it'll be 0 or more times if it's algorithm, right? So that's the pattern, the first pattern, right? So now we're going to replace it with something. So it's going to be just like those dollar signs from the other lesson we did. We're going to use this dollar sign. Pardon me. We're not going to use the dollar sign in like we've been doing. We're going to use this dollar sign and, which inserts the matched substring. So it's going to actually match. It's going to insert this whole thing right here. So we're going to have the empty string, and then we're going to say dollar sign, and that's going to put this whole thing right here. And then we're also going to have way after it, right? And this is if the vowel's first. So let's say console.log if vowel first, all right? So we see, what do we got here? Let's get rid of this. right here. And we can say it takes care of algorithm way, but consonant and rhythm are not taken care of, right? So now we're going to take care of the consonant style. So now we're going to say let if consonant first, consonant, pardon me, or vowel first, all right? Because the thing about replace is that if it doesn't work, it just doesn't do anything, right? So if it's a consonant, we can also check the if vowel first, right? So we'll say if this, we'll say this now equals this dot replace, right? Dot replace. And just to prove that, if you remember, it still had consonant and rhythm not done anything when we did the console.log on that, right? So what we're going to do here is we're going to check another thing of regex, and we're going to have another character class, but this time we're going to use the negated character class on AEIOU, right? So this thing right here with the caret inside of it, right? So we'll say caret inside, caret inside AEIOU, right? And we're also going to match it in the front, so we're going to have the caret in the front of this thing too, right? So these are two different style carets, all right? And so this is going to be, since we're going to put this one at the back and the other one at the front, we're going to be using the capture group. So we're going to put this thing inside of parentheses, right? Like we did on that other one. So we're going to come and get this, and we're going to slap this in parentheses, right? And also, we need to check if it's consonant cluster. We're also going to use the quantifier plus, which matches the preceding item X one or more times. So it's not 0 or more times. It's going to be 1 or more times, right? So we're going to put plus like that, right? So now we've got that for the first capture group. For the second capture group, it's going to be just like the other one. We're going to have this W with the star after it. So just in case it's like rhythm and there's nothing, so it's going to be 0 or more times, right? So now what we're going to do is come over here, and we're going to say replace it with this string, and the string is going to be using this replace over here. We're going to use the $in where it inserts the in, one indexed capture group where in is a positive integer less than 100, right? So this is going to be capture group 1, and this is capture group 2. So we're going to change it up to put capture group 2 in front of capture group 1, and we're going to also say A like that, all right? So if there's nothing to be replaced, if there's no 1, all right, what are we saying here? So if there's no 2, it's not even going to bother with it, and there's going to be just 1, just like with rhythm. So let's come down here and say console.log, this right here. We're just going to copy paste that. And you can see it takes care of everything just like that, right? So what we're going to do now is we're going to return this thing right here, right? And we'll come down here and we'll just wrap up consonant. Why not? Just to make sure it's still working. Whoops. Wrap that up in parentheses and say console.log. And we can say it says consonant cray just like that. So we can either do it very long or very concisely. And I'm pretty sure this one would actually be a little faster also. I don't know really, because we don't have a speed checker on this, but whatever. Let's run the test. Looks good, and submit it. All right. Now we're on to search and replace, and we'll see you next time.